This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
All right, let's come back to baseball. The Baum-Walker Stadium welcoming Scott Tabor this morning. 1979 Arkansas pitcher. Scott, good morning, man. College World Series.
Good morning.
I know we're a long way out from that, but Brady Tygart, that's kind of what we were talking about a little while ago. Kind of your initial thoughts on that news that broke earlier this week.
Well, did it end up being what did it ended up being? I didn't actually hear the injury.
There's not a diagnosis yet. We haven't heard anything. Just
Okay.
just what we saw on Wednesday, I guess.
Well, one of the toughest things to be a pitcher who has something go tight in your arm, you're out throwing, and all of a sudden something's just a little bit different. Things that you're really nailing an outside corner, all of a sudden you're hitting the guy in the head, and you don't know why. It could be a strained muscle, it could be a torn. Unfortunately, that's almost the same diagnosis as when you have a torn ligament and have to have Tommy John. And so, the waiting and seeing is one of the hardest things to go through. And for Arkansas, losing Brady would be significant. He's their designated closer. He's got great stuff, and he's got a good head on his shoulder. So hopefully it'll work out well. But injuries are part of the program. They're the part of baseball. That's why you try to build good depth, so they're also looking at other kids and giving somebody else a shot.
Scott Tabor with us here on the Morning Rush. The thing about baseball, you play a few weeks, and then all of a sudden, middle of March sneaks up on you, and you get your first SEC series. From what you've seen watching these games and what you've seen watching some of the midweek games in the weekend series, what does Arkansas really need to refine and work on in regards to getting ready for an SEC series here in just a couple of weeks?
Well, one thing that's got to happen is Van Horn's got to quit coming out before the season to say our hitting's going to be great this year or our pitching's going to be great this year. Last year was the hitting, and they weren't so great. And this year is the pitching. It hasn't been spectacular. You've got your designated 4 or 5 guys up front that you can trust, and we've talked about it every year, is the one thing that a coach needs is trust. He needs to trust exactly what he's going to put out there, and he's not always seeing it. Now, on the flip side of that, it's early and it's cold, and early season pitching is tough, always is. You've got a lot of great quality arms. You just have to have good quality pitching. I think that game the other night, the 11th inning walk-off, I think that was a great, great, great game for them to have early, because it shows the team has grit. They have excitement. They're playing Illinois State, for goodness sake. But it's not about the name on the jersey. It's baseball. And so every game's a different game, and everybody's got good players. So I think things are coming around. They're seeing what they need to see from the hitting standpoint. They know who their studs are. He's getting the lineup laid out a little bit better. It always comes down to pitching. And just finding that third starter, finding the first guys that are going to come out of the pen that you could depend on getting you 2 or 3 innings in the middle, eating up some innings during the year, just like everybody else. every team's going through the same process. And Van Horn's great at having us peak at the end of the year. So early season games are important, very, very important. But
as you watch,
building towards the end of the season is what they do. I'm sorry.
As you watch Zach Morris, and he worked in the middle of the week and probably didn't go quite the way he wanted, are you seeing anything mechanically, or what analyze his game and tell us what you're seeing with him, and maybe where they need to head with Zach?
Mechanics are a tricky thing. You can watch them with the naked eye over and over and over, and one year it's just nails. Well, the next year something just a little different, and it could be a half an inch, a quarter of an inch on your hand slot, and the way you're finishing through a pitch, or his leg strength is down, or he's got a little tweak in his shoulder that he doesn't even know about. So there's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of the times it's the way you're finishing the pitch. If you're finishing with your hand through the strike zone, it's going to put a little extra spin on it. You put that last little quarter of an inch drop right as it gets to the hitter, instead of it being a line drive, it's a ground ball. So and then part of it, the other side of it's the middle part of it. The toughest 5 inches in baseball is between their ears. Not fearing the strike zone, and I think there's a little bit of strike zone fear. You have a couple hit off the wall, you tend to play those over. It's like hitting a bad drive. You pull one left, your next one's probably going to go right. And so it's got finding that that calm in the storm and getting your head right when you go out there. Have a couple of good outings, and all of a sudden he's Zach Morris again. So it's hard to say, yeah, he'll come around. You just don't know. The talent is there. We've seen the talent. So hopefully he'll get his head right and things will come back into center.
Guys, not only do we have an expert on baseball with us here this morning, we got an expert on turkey calling too. Scott Tabor is an expert turkey caller. Now, we're at Big Creek Trading Company, and Ty has said he wants to get the turkey call out here. He thinks it's a duck call kind of deal where he's. But do you have any advice for Ty? He thinks he's going to call in some birds here at Big Creek. So what could you tell him, Scott? Because I know you're an expert in this field.
So here's my advice to you, Ty. The first time you put a diaphragm call in your mouth, the air needs to be going out. Don't suck in with it. No, the turkey calls can sound real funny.
You've already confused him. I was going to say, you should have seen the baffled look on his face.
He goes, diaphragm, what?
Yeah.
I think he's fine with another direction.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what got his attention.
Yeah. Big words, man. Yeah. Big words.
It's all about tone and cadence, Ty. It's all about tone and cadence. He doesn't have to sound perfect because female turkeys they don't all sound the same. They're just like women. They don't all sound the same. It's just all about cadence. So just slow down and have a good cadence.
Let me ask you something. Would Norm use his diaphragm when he was yelling at you back in the day for missing your spots? Like, how'd that go back in the day?
Norm used a megaphone. Actually, he didn't need a megaphone. But the crowds we didn't play in front of, you could hear every word that he said. And there's Jesus, God, geez, take this those strike. Oh, come on. Because that's how easy it is, just those strikes.
Well, Scott, thanks for getting up early, and we'll talk next week as we get closer to SEC play for the Razorbacks.
Getting close. Can't wait.
All right, Scott Tabor with us here on the Morning Rush.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet Online, where the game starts.